Hey everybody, what's up? My name is Katicus, and this is my second attempt at doing the same video. I just recorded the whole video with the wrong inputs on. Oops, so there was no audio for the whole 3-part video. That was fun. So why am I making a video today? Well, I wanted to talk to you about the MPC Live and an issue that I have with it that is pretty severe. This is unfortunately an issue that impacts all MPC Live users. If they ever try to use the audio track feature, then they will know what I'm talking about as soon as I say audio track. Basically, to give you a rundown of how the MPC Live works, and in a moment I'll show you. The MPC Live has two sections for its tracks. It has a MIDI section and an audio track section. The MIDI section basically just triggers sounds, samples, or whatever based upon the pad strikes. So if I'm going to play a beat, you're just boom, boom, psh, boom, boom, psh, as it's playing, as it's recording. And it'll trigger those samples from the sound bank on the system. Of course, you can put more samples and sounds and stuff like that, record them into there. That's one way of doing things. And the other part is the audio tracks. The thing is, the MIDI and the audio tracks, there is one view where you can see all of your tracks. You can see all your MIDI and all of your audio right on top of each other, or right in a list, in a line with each other. And the way that building a song works on the MPC Live, something that makes it quite enjoyable to do, is you can have one sequence and you can write all your tracks. You can write your drum track, and then you can write some strings, and then you can write some hi-hats. You can do these all in different tracks. And you can write an entire song in multiple different tracks, and then you can take that first sequence that you just basically wrote a whole song in, and you can copy it and paste it to the next sequence, basically sequence 2, and copy that to the next sequence, and you can keep doing this until you basically have the length of the song that you want. So let's say the song was 120 beats per minute. You might make 10 or 12 bars, and that'd be about a 3 or 3.5 minute song. Then what you do is you go through your sequences and you mute things that you don't want in there. You mute tracks. Okay, so you've got your track of drums, your track of hi-hats, your strings, and so on and so forth. In the very beginning of the song, you don't want to have everything playing. You want it to slowly build and then have a break in the middle and then introduce a new instrument as it goes down. So in track 1, in sequence 1, you might mute everything except the bass line or everything except the drums. And then you go to sequence 2 and you'll unmute another thing that you want in there. In sequence 3, unmute another thing, and so on and so forth. Now, the important thing is when you unmute a MIDI track in sequence 1, it stays muted in any other sequence. So whatever changes you make to the muting or unmuting of each sequence stays in that sequence, except for the audio tracks. I only just figured this out recently because I hadn't used audio. I hadn't recorded anything into the device before this to put it into the music. I hadn't made audio tracks. So I was recently very disappointed to find out that this is the way that the MPC Live works, and there's absolutely no reason for it. And that is, when you mute an audio track in sequence 1, it mutes it for every sequence. When you mute it in or unmute something, an audio track in sequence 5, it unmutes it in all of them. Because for some reason, the audio tracks don't sit in the same environment as the MIDI tracks, I guess you could say. What's even more frustrating about this is if you are to delete a MIDI track from sequence 1, that MIDI track will actually stay in sequence 2 because you haven't removed it from sequence 2. But the audio tracks, again, being in their own separate and unchangeable environment, if you deleted it from sequence 1, it deletes it from your entire project, from the whole song. It's just gone. So what this means is, if you make, let's say each of your sequences 8 bars, and you make an 8-bar sequence of one of your instruments going into it, being recorded into it, it will actually put that and play that in every single sequence, even though you just wanted it in this one part, in sequence 1, after like bar 32 or something. That's where you want it to be. It can't be there. It won't play there. Either it's throughout the whole song going over and over and over again, or it's not in the song at all, because if you mute it once in one sequence, all of them are muted. It's very frustrating, especially because nothing else on the machine works like this except the audio tracks. I don't even know why they're called audio tracks if they don't have regular track behavior. I don't understand why they have a mute button if they can only be muted for the whole damn song and not just for that one sequence. It's a bug. It's not supposed to be like that. It's not supposed to work like that. And yet I've seen forum posts online and it's been like this for months. I'm pretty sure Akai is aware of this because a lot of people complain about it. It makes the system pretty much unusable. But instead of me just sitting here and talking, how about I give you a small demonstration of it and tell you how I came up with a workaround. I'm not the only person that came up with it. Wowie me. No, I figured out a way around it for myself that works. And I'm sure anybody else who wants to have their own audio has figured this out too, but it's definitely not an ideal workaround. It's something that Akai needs to figure out. And for the end of the video, after I show you the demonstration on here, I'll read you the email back and forth that I had going with Akai support and why I personally don't think there's much hope in getting a speedy solution to this. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So allow me to pause this and show you what it looks like on the machine. So one moment. Okay, so here we are looking at the main screen of the Akai MPC Live. And what I'm going to show you is the track view. Right now I'm in sequence 1. Now ignore that it says sequence 1 right here. The number right here is the actual sequence. Like I said, I wrote the whole song in one sequence and then copied and pasted, which means that each sequence is called sequence 1. But here the number changes, even though it's called sequence 1. So you can see, if I show you here, in sequence 1, there's just strings. So when the song starts, this one sample or whatever, this one sequence of notes will play. 8 bars long, it'll play. And then for sequence 2, I unmuted the hi-hats, so it's playing some sequence and then the hi-hats come in, start to build up. Sequence 3, the hi-hats and the drums come in. You've got more and more things that start to play as the song's going. Sequence 4, sequence 5, so on and so forth. Building, I can create breaks by muting things for a second and then unmute a new melody or something in the middle of the song, build complexity. That's the way that the MIDI tracks work. If you change the sequence, you can make changes to the mutes and solos based upon that sequence. But here are the audio tracks just down here. These are very annoying. Look at where we're on sequence 4 right now. If I mute the audio 001 in sequence 4 and then I go to sequence 3, we look at it, it's muted in sequence 3. Let's unmute it in sequence 3 because I want it to play in sequence 3 but not in sequence 4. Then we go to sequence 4 and it should be muted, right? Nope, it's unmuted because any change that I make to this will change throughout every single sequence for no reason whatsoever. Another thing that you can do with the MIDI tracks here is, I thought when I first experienced this problem, I thought, okay, well I got an idea. How about I just delete the track from that, from sequence 3 because I don't want it into that. So I deleted it from sequence 3 and it actually deleted the entire audio 001 track throughout the whole song. Cool. That was handy, not. So basically it became impossible to use. I found that it's impossible to use these audio tracks. You cannot use these in a song unless your song, if you want to make one sequence that's 64 bars long or something and make a single audio track that plays the whole way through, sure, but that's not really convenient and it's very counterintuitive based upon the way that the entire system works. These things can be muted per sequence, this thing cannot. These things can be deleted per sequence, these cannot. And I figured out the only way to get through this, to work around this, is in here, in your MIDI section, not your audio section, you've got your pad program. So I can make a new track here. If I go to track 8, it's unused, then I can assign a sample, and then I can actually choose any one of those audios, any one of them, and make it play. So I can trigger it by tapping it. And that's the way that I made it work in this song, is that in sequence 3, I made it play this one here, and in sequence 4 I made it play in that one, in sequence 5, and so on and so forth. So if you treat it like a MIDI track, you can mute it and unmute it based upon sequences. But if it's an audio track, even though it's playing the same goddamn file, if it's an audio track, you cannot mute or unmute. If it's a MIDI track, you can. It makes no sense. This is a bug in my mind, and the worst part about it is just coming up. I'm going to come back to you guys in just a second. I'm going to sit at the sofa and I'm going to read you the email back and forth that I got from Akai, and we'll see what you guys think about it. Okay, so I'll see you guys in a minute. Okay, here we are again with the amazing sofa view. I'm going to read you the back and forth emails that I had with Akai support. And hopefully I can make my wire stop shaking my camera. Okay, here's the first support email that I wrote to Akai. And then, yeah. So I'll begin. Hi there. I recently noticed, as I've only recently started using the audio tracks portion of the MPC Live, that audio tracks can't be muted between sequences. For example, if I mute an audio track in sequence 1, it will mute it in every sequence. If I unmute it in sequence 3, it will unmute it in every sequence. I went online to find information about this issue, and it appears I am not the only one with this issue, as this is the way everyone's MPC Live works. I would like to know if there is any plan to fix this issue in the near future, as this is extremely frustrating and destroys all usefulness of the audio track feature. I would greatly appreciate a reply about this, as I'm sure most MPC Live users would as well. Thank you in advance for your reply. Best regards, Cade Johnson. That was my first email. 5 days later, I got a response. Hi, Cade. Thank you for reaching out to us. I appreciate the opportunity to assist you! Exclamation marks. Thank you for contacting us with your feature request. What? Your feedback is important to us. I've logged your comments and suggestions into our feature request system. Such requests get compiled and are delivered weekly in a report to product managers and members of our development team, ensuring that they receive the widest audience possible. Okay. We certainly appreciate it when someone goes out of their way to share their ideas. What? I'm not sure. What? Thank you again for your feedback. Hold on a second. Sounds like you're saying goodbye. If you have additional questions or concerns, or if the information we provided today does not help completely resolve your inquiry, please let me know. What are you talking? For additional assistance or to open your case, just respond to this email with your case number in the subject line. I'll be glad to help. As good as this time, I hope. Best regards, blah, blah, blah. Now here's an important thing. The person that offered the support does not work for Akai. They work for something called InMusic Brands. I guess they're a music vendor support system. But let me give you a list of the companies that this company supports. They support Air, Akai Professional, Alesis, Alto Professional, Denon DJ, Denon Professional, Headrush, Ion Audio, M Audio, Marantz Professional, Mark Lighting, Mixmeister, Newmark, Rain, and Sonovox. I'm sure they give great service to each and every one of those. Anyway, as you can hear, my request or my email wasn't really fixed or solved or replied to. So here was my reply to them. I wrote, Hi Dara, that's the name of the person that helped me. I would like to say thanks for replying, but this isn't much of a reply. Nothing was answered, just a copy-pasted, we've made a record of your issue auto form. This is disappointing service on behalf of Akai. You wrote, and I quoted, if you have additional questions or concerns, or if the information we provided today does not help completely resolve your inquiry, please let me know. And then I said, the information you provided today does not at all resolve my inquiry. I'd be interested to know if these kinds of auto replies work with anyone. I wrote in my original reply, this is me saying to him, and then quoted, I would like to know if there's any plan to fix this in the near future, as this is extremely frustrating and destroys all usefulness of the audio track feature. Then I unquoted and said to him, this is a question requiring an answer, not an, oh, hi, please fix this, okay? Thank you so much, Faceless Corporation. It's not that kind of request. I understand you're only trying to do your job, and you appear to have a lot of clients beyond just Akai. But if your duty is to communicate with customers on their behalf, you're doing the same job an AI auto reply could do. Please reevaluate the original question I asked and forward it to someone at Akai, someone who actually has the practical knowledge to answer this question, an engineer or an actual position at Akai. This is not a support ticket. This is a question. Thank you and best regards. That was my reply to them. I haven't had a reply back in 6 days. I don't know if I will get a reply back. Maybe the person was upset that I wasn't like, sweet, I got an auto reply. But anyway, it's not the point. The point is, as somebody who owns the app, MPC Akai, the MPC Live, I feel I need to warn people that this is kind of what you're getting into, that the audio track issue is a big issue. It's something that hasn't been fixed for months. It's something that Akai has known about for months, and they haven't fixed it or directly replied about it or said that they're going to work on it or anything. I've seen forum posts from June of 2016, so it means it's almost a year. 2017, my bad. It's been almost a year and they haven't fixed this issue. They haven't even directly stated that it's an issue. So this makes big trouble for using the audio track feature. But in my opinion, the worst part about it is not getting a direct reply about it, not getting any promise to fix it, not getting any even official word that recognizes that it's an issue. This puts Akai or paints Akai in a pretty bad light because the MPC Live is their flagship device. I know the MPC X is better, it's bigger and more expensive, but the price of the MPC Live and the functionality of it puts it really within reach of people, the widest audience for people who want something that's standalone and can be used and it's versatile. It's like the one that a lot of people want to get. And having an issue like this and that they won't directly officially recognize it or acknowledge it is a pretty big issue in my mind. It's something that I probably wouldn't have bought the Akai if I had known that A, this was an issue, and B, that their customer service is what it is, which is just auto replies. Thanks for contacting us. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. And then no answer after that, just dead silence. That's something you should consider if you're buying something like this. You see my videos, or if you see my videos, I buy a lot of stuff. I get a lot of hardware. I haven't had any issues quite like this with any of the other ones, except for Rolly, Noise, and I'll hand it to Rolly. Their Noise app sucks, but their devices are pretty decent, and they do reply. People who work there actually reply to your emails, and that's a different experience. But anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say for today about the MPC Live. If you guys have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear them or see them down below this video. And of course, if you can like the video, that helps me a lot. And if you don't like it, then dislike it. And subscribe if you want to, because I make a lot more videos than I used to. And yeah, that's about it from me. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next time. This is Katigus out.